The Nice Guys is one of those movies I try and tell everyone to watch. Shane Black's dark comedy and razor-sharp wit come to the forefront in this film. The enticing and scintillating world of 1970s LA is no less fun for its depravity. In fact, it's a major part of what makes this depiction of the City of Angels so captivating. The film's also excellently written and genuinely hilarious at points, due in no small part to the excellent performances by Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling in the leads. In this series about that one scene in different films, I want to discuss the first scene we see our two leads meet, and how it encapsulates exactly why this movie is so good. Russell Crowe's character Jackson Healy is asked to get Holland March, played by Gosling, to stop looking for information about a girl. Now, Healy's line of work is this exact thing, but with a more specific motivation, you could say.
Are you the man?
What?
Stay away from little girls.
March, however, is a private detective who behaves more like a slimy conman, projecting all his own insecurities. He's like a detective who moonlights as a door-to-door salesman or something. These two men's worlds are about to collide, and I'll deconstruct it for you now, in that one scene in The Nice Guys. So the first thing we see when March opens the door, immediately jumping to such cathartic violence makes March's dumb foil role in this movie clear. We've seen him be a dopey dumbass before, but this fight takes several opportunities to emphasize that.
I'm done. Put a fork in me. Don't really put a fork in me.
Healy, however, is clearly approaching this like, well, as close to a professional as one can be a professional thug. Ryan Gosling doesn't really get credit for his comedic roles. Well, okay, not before Barbie came out, he didn't. But in this movie, he always has me cracking up. From his squeaky voice when he's being pressed, to his constant insistence that he is to be taken seriously, often done in vain, this kind of performance is what makes a true comedy character shine. Take this clip, for example.
Ever since your little visit the other day, this little baby's gonna stay right here.
It doesn't matter how many times I watch this scene, it always makes me laugh. Between these two actors though, I think it was obvious who was going to play the straight man. Crowe's flat affect, matter-of-fact statements, and his sardonic delivery contrasts Gosling's performance so well. The way that Healy is almost disappointed in March for cracking so quickly and not putting up much of a fight tells us a lot about both of them.
You just gave up your client.
I made a discretionary revelation.
No, you just gave her up. I asked you one simple question, you gave me all the
I
information.
thought that's what you wanted.
It's easy to forget because Russell Crowe has done some shit, but with the right direction, motivation, and dialogue, he really can bring a character to life. This isn't the funniest, or best scene in the movie. Honestly, the point of that one scene in isn't to talk about what I think is the best scene in a film necessarily, but rather a scene that encourages you, the viewer, to check the movie out. Hence, I chose this scene. It's a scene that won't spoil too much of the ride you're in for, and it's a scene that remembers the two things I think a lot of comedies forget to do. The first thing is to make sure every joke told in some way tells us something about the world or characters.
You can afford to live like this as a PI?
It's comedy as a vehicle for filmmaking and storytelling. It's great. Even the seemingly throwaway jokes have such a strong character voice. They would only really work coming from these characters. It's all so cohesive. You learn something about Healy from his cynical business is business lines. You learn something about March from his desperate attempts to be the man that he sees in his own head. It's all just really well done. The other thing is that not every moment in a comedy has to be about laughing out loud. There's an insecurity, I feel, with a lot of mainstream comedies that they have to keep upping the ante. Every moment of comedy has to be louder and more exaggerated than the last. It has to have you rolling on the floor laughing at every opportunity. In reality, a lot of comedies get their best moments through character downtime. Think about any comedy that you really like and imagine how funny it would or wouldn't be without the more understated dialogue scenes.
Amelia's gonna be very happy that you got the message so quickly. It's gonna make her smile. That's good.
Part of the reason the high energy moments in, say, The Hangover work so well are the moments where the characters just bounce off each other. There are examples of these two things, and I still haven't really decided a better name yet, so things will have to do, all over the film. The protest scene is an excellent example of how to play one of these wacky characters completely straight, while not betraying March's inherent nature. March comes to the conclusion that the girl they're looking for would be protesting with her eco-warrior group. This assumption isn't impossible, probable maybe, but March hasn't considered any other alternative possibility because he's basically thought of the protest group first and gone, yeah, that makes enough sense, that's good enough.
How do you know she's in it?
Because it's her protest group. She started it.
Yeah, but she's holed up somewhere hiding. What makes you think she's gonna be here?
That's her protest group.
Stop saying that.
I'd like to
You
stop
said
saying
that.
it.
I hear
I don't hear
it's
you
her
hearing
protest
it.
group.
Hey, Amelia?
Honestly, this could have very easily been a those two scenes in or something. This movie's that fucking good. But no, I chose my scene. You may notice I'm not really talking much about the plot in any specific detail, hence the likely very similar looking visuals I've used. Look, I'm really sorry, but I don't want to spoil too much. And that's because I do encourage everyone to check this film out, and I don't want to give you too many hints about what you're in for. So I'll just show you the last part of this scene that I'm talking about in the hopes it'll basically embody all the points I just made and sell this film for your convenience. God, aren't I great? Don't I deserve a like?
Right, look, when you're talking to your doctor, just tell him you have a spiral fracture of the left radius.
No! No!
Deep breath. You mind if I have an apple?
Fantastic stuff. The Nice Guys had the unfortunate fate of releasing at the same time as some incredibly difficult competition. The Angry Birds movie for all the families, the sequel to the also quite good comedy Neighbours, or Bad Neighbours as it was called in the UK, thanks Australia, and probably most fatally, one of the best Marvel movies ever made at a time when Marvel was massive and synonymous with excellence. Shane Black addressed this directly when being asked about a potential sequel by saying,
We're up against some stiff superhero competition, and we just need people to, see Captain America 6 times. But not the 7th. See us instead.
It's honestly really heartening that this movie hit its projections for opening weekend. I'm so thankful a movie like this didn't completely bomb out because of stiff competition. Odds are though you probably still missed this one, but you really should check it out if you want a witty, stylish, interesting, and legitimately funny buddy cop detective drama. I hope this video at least made you consider watching it and giving it a try. That is, after all, the ultimate goal of this series. Speaking of this series, you can check out more episodes of That One Scene In on my channel, and more will come out later. Don't know when, I don't have a schedule. What am I, professional? Just subscribe so you know when they drop. Probably the safest way. Anyway, outro, end card, you know how this kind of stuff goes. This isn't your first YouTube video. If it is, I am so sorry it had to be me.